Donald Trump has now floated the idea of invalidating and redoing the November presidential election at some point in the future. Trump did some kind of event commemorating women's right to vote. It was really bad from the get-go. And here is Donald Trump saying we might have to redo the election because of all of the voting that will be done by mail.
We have to have honest voting. That's what this is all about here. It's honest voting. You can't take millions of ballots, send them haphazardly all over the country or all over a state, and expect to come out properly. And if you look at the last 10 elections where they did this universal, and by the way, absentee is great. It's been working for a long time, like in Florida. Absentee, you request, and it comes in, and then you send it back. Absentee is great. But universal is going to be a disaster, the likes of which our country has never seen. It'll end up being a rigged election, or they will never come out with an outcome. They'll have to do it again. And nobody wants that, and I don't want that.
So Trump's first salvo was that it might take days to know the results. Now, people weren't really worried about that. It would be fine for it to take a few days as long as we get the right result. So Trump had to scale it up. He had to go hyperbolic. And then Trump went to saying, you know, it could take days, weeks, or even months to know the results of the November election. That just wasn't believable. So more recently, Trump's been going full fake panic by saying it could take years to know the results. And now he's added this cherry on top, the craziest, which is we might have to throw out the election results altogether and redo the entire election. Now, what's funny is when he says that, he never says what would be different when we redo it. Like, is the implication we would have to redo the election, but without any voting by mail? Like how would redoing it fix the problem unless we do the election in a different way? Doesn't really matter. This is all crazy. Now, Donald Trump also had announced on Monday night, this is so crazy. On the way back from his rally in Wisconsin, Trump announced on Monday that yesterday he would be making a big announcement about pardoning someone. And he said, it's not going to be Snowden. It's not going to be, I don't remember whoever else. And he made this announcement yesterday during this same event commemorating women's right to vote. Donald Trump announced that he would be pardoning Susan B. Anthony, who died in 1906. The announcement, which Trump had promoted as a major announcement, it was met with literal laughter in the room. You have to see this video. You have to listen to this. You're going to hear loud laughter when Trump says, I'm going to pardon Susan B. Anthony. People think it's a joke, and then they realize, oh my God, Trump is serious. And they start to clap sort of like politely out of pity. I've never seen anything like this.
Incredible document that I'm signing, and I wanted to just add something because this was brought up a week ago, and I was so surprised that it was never done before. Because later today, I will be signing a full and complete pardon for Susan B. Anthony. She was never pardoned. Did you know that? She was never pardoned. What took so long?
The women behind Trump literally think it's a joke that Trump is telling, that it's not real. They thought this was going to resonate somehow, the White House did. Why else would they do this? And then a moment that is indistinguishable from parody. Donald Trump is asked if he supports the protesters in Belarus, and Trump, I guess, heard protesters and terrorists, and it just gets really weird. It's like a weird Freudian slip combined with Trump going off the rails and bashing the protesters in Portland, Oregon when asked about Belarus. Take a look at this.
Support protesters in Belarus, and do you have a message?
Do I support protesters and terrorists?
Belarus.
Oh, I thought you said protesters and terrorists.
And do you have a message for Moscow regarding potential military
Yeah,
intervention?
you have to understand me. I like seeing democracy. Democracy is a very important word. It doesn't seem like it's too much democracy there in Belarus, but we are speaking to lots of people, and we'll be speaking at the appropriate time to Russia, and we'll be speaking to other people that are involved, but it's certainly a very big march, and it seems to be a very peaceful march, unlike some of the so-called peaceful protests that we have where they burn down stores, okay? Peaceful protests, those are not peaceful. Those are anarchists going over to Portland and other places. These are anarchists, agitators. These are very bad people.
Just a complete and total inability to discuss policy in anything approaching a substantive way. And then lastly, Trump is asked about Michelle Obama's DNC speech from Monday, which even Fox News said was pretty good. And he says she was dead wrong. We have way more coronavirus deaths than she said we have. Trump's fact check, if you can imagine, maybe because the speech was recorded a few days earlier, Trump's fact check is, her speech was bad because under my administration, we've actually had way more coronavirus deaths than Michelle Obama claims.
Michelle Obama's speech last night where she said that you're in over your head and the wrong president.
Yeah, no, she was over her head, and frankly, she should have made the speech live, which she didn't do. She taped it, and it was not only taped, it was taped a long time ago because she had the wrong deaths. She didn't even mention the vice presidential candidate in the speech, and, you know, she gets these fawning reviews. If you gave a real review, it wouldn't be so fawning.
Owning the libs by saying, no, Michelle was wrong. More people have died of coronavirus now. She recorded it a couple of days ago. And then absolute last thing on this, Trump again talks about how the Obama administration got bad reviews on swine flu. Notice if you're watching this video, the woman over Trump's left shoulder, she looks physically ill during this. Take a look.
Well, they got very bad reviews. If you look at the Gallup poll did a review of them. Now, you have to understand that was a far lesser vicious disease. It was not the same in the same ballpark. But yeah, I know. It's also a much lesser disease. But they got very bad reviews. Gallup gave very bad reviews. And by the way, Gallup at that same time gave us very, very good reviews for the job we've done. So if you take a look at the Gallup poll from a couple of months ago, we got very good reviews, and they got very bad reviews. They were. I mean, the reviews they got for the handling of swine flu, or H1N1, which Biden calls N1, H1, and I don't even correct him on that. I don't even correct him. I said, that's a mistake you can make, but that's what he calls it. He's got it a little mixed up, but that's all right. Take a look at the Gallup poll, and there were others too. They got horrible marks, and that disease is a much lesser problem.
And of course, we've already fact-checked this. During swine flu, the Obama-Biden administration had 66% approval. In a polarized political environment like the one that we have, 66% approval, getting 66% of the country to agree on anything is an accomplishment in and of itself. So Trump also wrong on the facts and making people look physically ill from these rants. And then Trump flew out to Arizona and it got even worse. And I'm going to talk about that next. If you love feeding your intellectual curiosity, but you're always struggling to find the time, check out one of my all-time favorite apps called Blinkist. Blinkist lets you consume an entire book on your way home from work. They take thousands of popular nonfiction books, condense each one into text or audio that you can get through in just 15 minutes, and you get all of the important core ideas and information from that book. It's perfect if you don't have enough time to do all the reading you want to do, or if you just want to sample a book before you buy the entire thing. I recently read A Brief History of Time, of course, by the great Stephen Hawking. This is a book that I have been aware of for so long, and other things got in the way, and it was fantastic to check it out on Blinkist. Blinkist has books on politics, philosophy, science. They have 27 different nonfiction categories, and a subscription is only about $8 a month, and you get the entire library. But you can try it totally free and get 25% off a subscription when you go to Blinkist.com/Pakman. I've put the link right underneath this video.